The National Electrical Code, or NEC, establishes specific requirements for switches controlling garbage disposals in kitchens. These requirements are in place to ensure electrical safety and prevent accidental operation, especially by children. The NEC mandates that the switch controlling a garbage disposal must be located within 3 FT of the disposal itself. This proximity requirement ensures that the user can easily and quickly turn off the disposal in case of an emergency or if an object accidentally falls into it. The switch must be readily accessible from the sink. This means that the user should be able to reach the switch without having to stretch, bend over, or move any objects. Accessibility is crucial for quick and safe operation. The NEC also specifies the minimum amperage rating for the garbage disposal switch. It must be rated for at least 15 amps. This rating ensures that the switch can handle the electrical load of the garbage disposal motor without overheating or failing. Using a switch with a lower amperage rating could create a fire hazard. Another critical requirement is that the switch must be of a type that is not readily operable by children. This is a safety measure to prevent children from accidentally turning on the garbage disposal, which could result in injury. There are several types of switches that meet this requirement. Firstly, a switch with a locking mechanism requires a key or a special tool to operate. This makes it difficult for children to turn on the disposal. Secondly, a momentary contact switch only activates the disposal when it is held down. When released, the disposal turns off. Thirdly, a switch with a recessed button requires the button to be pushed in before it can be turned on. This makes it more difficult for children to operate. In addition to these specific requirements, the NEC also has general requirements for all electrical switches. All switches must be properly grounded to prevent electrical shock. All switches must be installed in approved electrical boxes. The wiring connections to the switch must be secure and properly insulated. All switches must be protected from physical damage. It is important to note that electrical codes can vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. It is always a good idea to check with your local building department to ensure that you are complying with all applicable codes. When installing a garbage disposal switch, it is always best to hire a qualified electrician. A qualified electrician will be familiar with the NEC and local electrical codes and will be able to install the switch safely and correctly. Improper installation of an electrical switch can create a fire hazard or an electrical shock hazard. In summary, the NEC requires that switches controlling garbage disposals must be within 3 FT of the disposal, must be accessible from the sink, must be rated for at least 15 amps, and must be of a type that is not readily operable by children. These requirements are in place to ensure electrical safety and prevent accidental operation of the garbage disposal. When installing a garbage disposal switch, it is always best to hire a qualified electrician to ensure that the installation is done safely and correctly. Failure to adhere to these NEC regulations can result in potential safety hazards, including electrical shock or fire. Adherence to the NEC guidelines helps ensure that the electrical installation is safe and compliant. Local amendments or variations to the NEC might exist. Always consult with local building authorities or a licensed electrician to confirm specific requirements applicable to the installation location. Regular inspection of the garbage disposal switch and its wiring is recommended to identify any potential issues such as loose connections or damaged insulation. Promptly address any identified problems to maintain safety and prevent electrical hazards. Always disconnect the power supply to the circuit before performing any electrical work on the garbage disposal switch or its wiring. This precaution prevents electrical shock. Consider using ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection for the garbage disposal circuit. A GFCI will trip and energize the circuit if it detects a ground fault, further enhancing electrical safety. Label the garbage disposal switch clearly to identify its function. This helps prevent accidental operation of the disposal by individuals unfamiliar with the kitchen layout. Ensure that the garbage disposal itself is properly grounded according to the manufacturer's instructions and local electrical codes. Proper grounding is essential for preventing electrical shock hazards. Educate household members, especially children, about the safe operation of the garbage disposal and the importance of not putting hands or objects into the disposal while it is running. Install the garbage disposal switch at a height that is easily accessible to adults but out of reach of young children. This helps prevent accidental operation by children. If the garbage disposal switch is located near water sources such as the sink, use a switch that is specifically designed for wet locations. These switches are typically enclosed in a waterproof housing to prevent water from entering the switch and causing electrical hazards. Consider using a wireless remote control for the garbage disposal. This eliminates the need for a hardwired switch and provides added convenience and safety. When selecting a replacement garbage disposal switch, choose a switch that is compatible with the existing wiring and electrical system. Consult with a qualified electrician if you are unsure about compatibility. Do not attempt to install or repair a garbage disposal switch if you are not qualified to do so. Electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to leave it to the professionals. The NEC Section 430.102. Firstly, location. Disconnecting means shall be located inside from the controller location. The controller disconnecting means for the garbage disposal needs to be readily accessible and within sight of the controller. Secondly, controllers. A motor controller shall be permitted to serve as the disconnecting means for motors rated 600 volts or less. If a motor controller is used to serve as the disconnecting means, it must be capable of being locked in the open position. The NEC Section 422.31b requires that cord and plug connected appliances such as garbage disposals be disconnected from the supply source by an accessible plug and receptacle. The receptacle must be supplied by an individual branch circuit. The NEC Section 422.33a permits the disconnecting means for permanently connected appliances to be any of the following. Firstly, readily accessible disconnecting switch or circuit breaker. Secondly, readily accessible attachment plug and cord connector. Thirdly, where other means of disconnection are used, additional disconnecting means shall be installed to disconnect the appliance from all ungrounded supply conductors. The NEC Section 422.34 requires that appliances that are accessible to unqualified persons shall have disconnecting means readily accessible and lockable in the open position. This ensures that the appliance can be safely de-energized for servicing or maintenance. The NEC Section 430.84 states that motor controllers shall be capable of starting and stopping the motor and shall be protected against overloads. The controller disconnecting means must be rated to interrupt the locked rotor current of the motor. The NEC Section 430.109f permits cord and plug connected motors to have the disconnecting means located at the attachment plug and cord connector. The attachment plug and cord connector must be readily accessible. The NEC Section 430.110 code states that the disconnecting means for motors must be readily accessible and capable of being locked in the open position. This ensures that the motor can be safely de-energized for servicing or maintenance. The NEC Section 430.126 requires that the disconnecting means for motors be legibly marked to indicate its purpose. The marking must be durable and readily visible. The NEC Section 430.127 requires that the disconnecting means for motors be installed so that it is not likely to be accidentally operated. The disconnecting means must be protected from physical damage. The NEC Section 430.128 requires that the disconnecting means for motors be installed so that it is not likely to be affected by vibration. The disconnecting means must be securely mounted. The NEC Section 430.129 requires that the disconnecting means for motors be installed so that it is not likely to be exposed to corrosive fumes or liquids. The disconnecting means must be protected from the environment. The NEC Section 430.130 requires that the disconnecting means for motors be installed so that it is not likely to be exposed to excessive heat. The disconnecting means must be rated for the operating temperature of the motor. The NEC Section 430.131 requires that the disconnecting means for motors be installed so that it is not likely to be exposed to excessive moisture. The disconnecting means must be rated for the humidity of the environment. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and local electrical codes for the most up-to-date requirements. A qualified electrician can provide expert guidance on the correct installation and maintenance of electrical components. Regular inspections and maintenance of electrical systems are essential to identify and address any potential safety hazards. Ensure that all electrical work is performed in accordance with applicable codes and standards. Prioritize safety when working with electrical equipment and systems.